Welcome to Insightful Minds, Episode 2. I'm your host, Zayon, and today I have a special guest. But before I introduce my special guest, we have a small segment called Good People Who Are Doing Good Things. And today I have one small business owner who I would like to give a shout out to. Shout out to my boy, Tony. He has a cannabis business. It's an organic business. If you're into edibles, the medicinal side, definitely check him out. He has an Instagram at Granny Za Official. And that's GrannyZaOffical. Granny Za Official. Now let's get into this second episode. My special guest, she's a good friend of mine. But more importantly, she's a certified life force energy healing practitioner. She's a certified holistic life coach, certified hypnosis. She has a master's degree in clinical psychology, and she is a mother of 3 adult, beautiful daughters. Let's give it up for Miss Jan Sabet.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, this is Jan.
How you doing today, Jan?
I'm great. I am just so honored to be your guest for this podcast.
I thank you. This is a long awaiting that we have been waiting for, so it's just so crazy how we met, I was just delivering some mail one day, and just the energy within the body told me, let me look over there and just say hi to her. I know she's a new customer, and just how we just gravitated to each other. It was just so genuine and unique that, things like that don't happen on an often basis, So, man, it feels good to be just sitting in front of you,
Actually, they happen to me like that a lot. And I was like, okay, well, me and Z are on the same channel.
Right.
Because some of us feel things in our body. And a lot of times we don't have permission to acknowledge that. In this world, we're encouraged to just be in our heads all the time. But our bodies can actually tell us a lot of wisdom and guide us in our healing.
And, people don't even realize that the body works in mysterious ways, and I didn't realize that until I started going through my trials and tribulations, how the body really worked in a mysterious way. But you have to take great care of it to find out those mysterious ways.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that I like to work with my clients on, is being able to understand the signals that their body is giving them. And the reason I teach that is because I wish I had known how to do that myself when I was much younger. I didn't figure it out till I was, in my 40s. I'm now in my 60s.
Oh, wow.
But, this knowledge is free. We all have the ability to access these channels of healing. And so that's kind of what I became, is like an energy cheerleader for people to become aware that they not only have a physical body, but they have a subtle body. And that body's filled with energy. And they can access that healing energy to support not only their physical health, but also their emotional health, and even to unfold dimensions of their personality and God-given talents that they haven't yet achieved. And it's just really fun to watch that gift unfold in each person. So I'm fascinated, and I never get tired of what I do.
Now, when did you realize that you wanted to take this step into a field of this, like this type of field? When did you realize? At what age?
Yeah. I was a mother of 3 little girls at the time, and I had a really serious illness when my last baby was born. I had a deep vein thrombosis that almost killed me. Thank God the baby was fine, but it left me with some serious damage in one of my legs, and it didn't work right. I couldn't walk for a while. It would swell, and I was like a young mom, and I was really enjoying being a stay-at-home mom during those years. And then all of a sudden, I'm 35 and I'm crippled. I was like, wow, how did this happen? Just in a moment. And of course, I know all of you can relate. You've all had physical things that just knocked you flat. And this did that for me. And I really struggled for about 10 years with bad health, couldn't walk, couldn't stand. Like my leg would like swell up. I had to like elevate it all the time. And my kids were like, man, my older kids especially, they were like, I used to have a fun, cool mom. And then all of a sudden she's like, sick all the time. And they were pretty upset about it. And this went on for like 10 years, really. I didn't know what to do. Medicine treated me by giving me blood thinners, which are kind of like rat poison, basically. They make your blood thin and you have to go and get tests at the doctor. And it was just like, I did not like that lifestyle of just being chronically ill. Then, this is my moment. I had a good friend who I really trusted, and she was a teacher of Reiki, which is a kind of an older form of energy healing. And she had a class that it hadn't filled, and she knew that I was interested because at the time my husband had some back problems, and I wanted to like help him feel better. And she'd been giving him treatments with Reiki for his back. And she said, well, why don't you come to my class and I'll teach you how to do it so you can help her eat at home too. And I said, oh, cool. And so I came to her Reiki class, and I started to get this sensation in my fingers and hands. It was like a feeling of like movement or something. And I was like, am I just feeling my blood moving? What is it? What am I feeling in my fingertips? But then I started to like use this new sense to sense different parts of my body. And when I would run this, my sensing hands close to my legs, remember I had that sick leg, and like the healthy leg, I could feel energy moving. But the sick leg, I couldn't feel anything. And I was like, wow, now this can't be right. Legs should be the same, right? We have two, there should be energy in both of them. What if I could get the energy moving in this leg again? And by energy, I'm talking about subtle energy like chi, like prana. It's an energy that surrounds and interpenetrates our physical body. And so, long story short, I don't have time to go into how I got it moving, but I started to get energy, prana, chi, going through that sick leg of mine. And lo and behold, symptoms that I had had for more than 10 years started to get better. These are things that my doctor was not able to help me with, like pain, swelling, stuff that medicine really wasn't able to help, like subtle things. But the energy, somehow it was supporting my body so that I was not having the pain. I was not having the incapacitation. And it didn't happen like all at once. I would say it was over a period of about a couple of years. But when I noticed it happening, I got so excited that I'm like, what is this and why didn't I know about it a long time ago? Why do I have to wait 10 years to do this? So anyway, that's when I went and got training with a lady in California where this kind of thing is very accepted, energy healing. I lived in Ohio at the time, and in the Midwest, this kind of stuff was not done in the 1990s. This would have been. And so I went to California, studied with her, and it was just like this whole new world. I feel like a magical world of energy opened to me. And I just loved everything I learned. And I got certified in energy healing. And as soon as I was qualified, I started to offer this, first free when I was a student. And then later, it was interesting. I found that people got better results when they paid for their sessions because it's an exchange of energy. And your body and the universe knows when you got skin in the game, you get better results.
Energy, people don't realize, these days they realize how big energy is, like frequencies, hertz, people are starting to realize that we move off vibrations more than anything out here. So was it hard for the girls to see you really in that downtime, that dark place?
They got frustrated. They get frustrated, and I do think it had a lifelong impact on them. And I wish I could turn back the clock and could have figured out how to heal myself sooner. But, for whatever reason, I had to go through that. And I guess my mission now is like to let people know that there's an option to learn self-healing. It's not that hard. When I was in Ohio, I just moved to this area, and I used to give free classes on chakra balancing in my library. And it was really cool. Like, people would come in and they'd be like all stressed from the day. And then by the time they'd get done with our group, they'd be like calm. And a lot of times I would see healing manifesting slowly over time as they would continue to come. So these forces are available for people to use. And I'm hoping to find a library here or someplace that I can offer free groups again. And then people that want to fast track their healing and want to get help with the more urgent problem, I give private sessions for those clients too.
And I think it's really needed that we enlighten people and give them insight about, chakra meditation, because meditation is so key to the body for peace and just connecting with other places, of the consciousness in your body.
Yeah.
How familiarized are you with the chakra meditation?
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of like, that's my favorite thing because I discovered, this world of energy. Throughout our body, we have different energy centers. And you might have heard the word chakra. It's from Sanskrit. So, it just means a spinning wheel of light is what it means, because some people have the vision that they can actually see the energy in somebody. And for me, my gift is that I can feel the energy. I have this sense of touch that's crazy, and I can feel people's chakras, and I can give them a clue. Most people don't have all those energy centers open in their bodies. In fact, if you wanted, I could give you a reading right now of your chakras.
Go on, let's go on.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna get a little tool so that you can see. So you can see what I'm doing.
We'll hold your tea for you, okay?
Yeah. So I like to use this little thing. This is what I use for my friends in the library. It's just a piece of wood on a string.
Okay.
So it's nothing special. But I like it because that way you can see what it's doing. And am I close enough to my mic?
No, you're good.
I probably should be close to the mic again.
I'll put it a little.
So I kneel down like this. So this wood, it doesn't have any magical qualities at all, but it has an interesting quality in that it can move with the energy flow.
Okay.
So
let's stand up. Let's show people. You can stand up.
So I'm going to stand up.
You good.
Should I move this up?
You can move it over. I got you.
All right, perfect. So I'm going to show you first on me. Because I have these energy centers in my hands because I'm a healer, right? So it's kind of like a muscle that you develop. So I'm going to put it over my hand. And it starts to move. And that's the energy that is moving from my hand. So it makes the energy visible for those of us that don't have this vision.
Got you.
So now we can put it in front of your chakras and see but we're going to actually put it in front of your body. Okay. Now you might have activity in your hands, but I want you to look this way because our chakras, they extend out this way from your body.
Gotcha.
They extend up and out. So I'm going to hold it over. First of all, you have one in your lower back. So I'm going to hold it down low and we'll just see if it's moving. Okay. Z is not grounded today.
Oh, wow.
So that's usually where I start with somebody, connecting them to the energy of the planet. And that's a really important one. And actually, that's the only one I'm going to do for you. Okay. Because if that one's not working, the other ones are not getting the juice and the flow that they need. So the root chakra is the one that basically we're sitting on it right now. Okay. Yeah. So it comes at the base of our spine and it circulates through our pelvis. And it connects us with the energy of the planet Earth.
And it's so crazy because I had some vibrant toe shoes. Those are more so it's like the closest thing to being barefoot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know those. I used to have a pair too.
So, and one of my coworkers, she told me that, I should get some toe shoes because those are the closest thing to being grounded with the universe. Yes. And when I first wore them, it felt different, but I wore them things for probably a month straight. Yeah. And completely fell in love with them,
Yeah.
It's a different feeling you get when you're actually grounded with the universe, like
Isn't it?
even taking away like Instagram, I disconnected myself with Instagram for like a whole month. Mm-hmm. And I felt more connected with self versus when I got back connected with Instagram. You can feel stuff like anxieties,
absolutely,
all that type of energy coming back to you. And it's just like you see why they have these platforms the way they do for these younger kids. And you see,
to trap them, really.
Really, and I see how these younger kids, 8, 9, 10, 11, all the way to 12 and 13 are depressed because you're on your phone, you're scrolling, even your cell phone.
Yeah.
It's like a depression. It's really like, it can keep you depressed.
Absolutely.
Because everything, all type of information is coming there. You might get a text message from your friend about their problems.
And you feel like you can't stop or you're going to miss something.
Exactly.
And so you're trapped.
And it's just like...
And so I think that's the message that we're supposed to give your listeners today, Z.
Right.
Is about connecting to the planet. Get grounded. Leave your electronic devices for a little bit and go take a walk in nature. You don't need to buy Vibram shoes. Actually, if you just get in touch with your feet, like even give them a nice a foot massage. If you have if you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, that'll massage your feet, or do it yourself, because it starts to activate the nerve endings, and the energy of the earth comes in through the soles of the feet. So that's where I start my energy healing sessions. I start with the feet and the legs, and I fill them with energy. And that's what I do. Is I've been trained to channel energy through my body. It comes out my hands, and I can partner with a client to fill up their feet and legs with that earth energy. So for the first time, maybe they feel what it's like to be grounded. And you know what usually happens when they get that feeling? They usually fall asleep. They're like in a deep trance. They're like, I have never been so relaxed in my life. I've never felt this deep sense of peace. And that's the energy of Mother Earth when you connect with her.
Facts, because I did yoga one time and I felt myself just drifting out of consciousness, drifting back into consciousness.
That's it.
It happened to me twice, and I was just like,
beautiful. So yoga is another great way to get grounded. All those yoga poses were created originally in India to open up these energy pathways that we're talking about.
And I see that India has a lot of practices and teaches just with meditation, period.
Definitely. There's so many kinds of meditation. And I know a lot of people are like, meditation, I can't stand still. Or whenever I close my eyes, like I have all this stuff in my head that is traumatic and hurts me. Don't worry. Not everybody has to like sit still and meditate. You can do a walking meditation. You can do a running meditation. You can dance. You can do a dancing meditation. The Shakis do that. And so don't be put off if you just feel like you can't sit still. You don't need to. Just try to find a way to access your inner world.
And I see, just because when I be with Instagram, I see it's a lot, like you said, meditation is so many different ways from people just like you said, dancing, like just loosely dancing, like just getting the energy, the bad spirits out of them, and, I feel like that will be so valuable to teach our young kids, because the first thing they do when they get stressed out, they tend to go to drugs or peer pressure.
That's exactly what I was going to go to next. Because a lot of people think that in order to get that sense of peace, well, not to hurt the business that you were promoting at the beginning, but they might not need that cannabis. They might not need that drink if they would try, getting out in nature or going to a yoga class or going to a dance class and try to do something to get in touch with your body before you take another drug or another pill.
And what's so crazy? That used to be me. I used to, when I am so stressed out, I would have to smoke marijuana.
Yeah.
But I would feel worse than what I originally felt the next morning because I'm just like, oh my God.
It wears off.
Yeah.
It always wears off.
And you know, it's like, it's there for a moment to ease the pain, but it's like the pain will come back around 100 times worse than the original pain, you know? So just these last couple of months, really taking, you know, those type of measurements to really look into other ways to stay at peace and stay grounded. Yoga, vibrational frequencies, you know, really listening to nature while I'm at work, you know, stuff like that, like really works, you know, even when you do have customers who reciprocate the same energy you have, you know, that's a good thing because when I first, I'm not gonna say when I first started, but when I really started going through my trials and tribulations, I was really working at this job. And my last route, the customers on their route, they were like a healing, it was like a healing route for me because I was able to talk about my trials and tribulations that I never felt comfortable talking about to them. And I was like, wow, I see now just through communication, people giving you sympathy, you know, like, because you do have some people who you will, you know, talk to and you don't get the response. So you might get the weird body language like, oh, wow, that was a lot, you know. So I feel like when you're vulnerable, you really have to watch who you talk to or who you go to because you might feel worse afterwards before you even go to the person and let them know, hey, you know, I just want to talk to you about some things I'm going through. And I might not be the right person to talk to, you know.
You have to be somebody that you can trust with your heart because that's what's happening. There's a heart connection when you feel that healing.
Yeah.
And so that's another one of the energy centers is at the heart. And that one is also very important. It actually encompasses all the others because your body has some energy centers that are more physical, like the first one we talked about. The heart is the bridge between our physical nature and our spiritual nature.
Oh, I like that.
Because to be a complete human being, we not only need to be connected with our body, we also have to be connected with our spiritual nature and a higher power.
And it's so crazy when you say higher power because the more I see, you know, it's this guy who I watch on YouTube, and he always talk about connecting with your higher power, how to go about connecting with your higher power, you know, visualize, you know, and manifest what you want out of life, you know, before you go to bed. Yeah. I think it was Tesla's 369 method of, you know, 3 times in the morning you write your goal down, 6 in the evening, 9 at night. You know, how people who do that are 44% more successful out here in this world. You know, so when you look at and see that it's really all about you and the power of the tongue and the mind, that you can manifest your life into a positive outcome, you really see how much of an oppressor you are to yourself.
That's it.
And myself, I seen that as I started to go through my healing phase, that I really was my own oppressor who oppressed myself and dug those holes for myself. You know, so as you were going through the whole deep vein thrombosis, who were some people you were able to go to just for comfort?
Yeah, well, you know, my family, of course, was my biggest supporter. Oh. I have an amazing marriage. We've been together over 40 years. Hey. Yeah, my husband is incredible and always has so much insight to suffering, you know, because I think that it's part of our nature of our lives that we do need to go through pain and suffering. I know a lot of people think, oh my gosh, avoid it at all costs, but I find a lot of strength in the Baha'i philosophy. And I do find, I do have a spiritual foundation that guides my life. And one of the teachings of Baha'u'llah, who founded the Baha'i faith, is that tests and trials are actually a preparation for us. It's like when the plow comes through the field and it furrows the earth,
right,
tears the earth, and the weeds and things that are growing, everything is opened up and ripped wide open. But then the farmer comes along and plants the seed for the new crop that will grow. And oftentimes those struggles that we go through, that those shoulder surgeries that you talked about in episode 1, and your elbow being shattered and your dad dying, and like all that stuff that hit you, it just opened up your heart. It just ripped it open. But it was preparing you to grow and to become something more than you were before.
And you're absolutely right. Because when you look back at yourself when you were 15 versus your age that you are now, you see your growth at an enormous rate. But it was more of you never expected yourself to really unlock these attributes, of yourself, or just really find who you are as a person. Because, as kids, you always say, I want to do this, I want to be that, but that's not the route we go on at times, We really go on a route that, we see the destination, but we don't know what the path is,
Yeah, sometimes it's beyond your wildest
I'm
imaginings.
telling you, and it's crazy, I always wanted I loved to play sports when I was in school. I was a little class clown when I got to high school.
Mm-hmm.
But I was shy, but I never thought I would have a voice to really, people will gravitate to, and when you start to know that you have a good heart and your heart really attracts people to you, you start to really question what type of powers do you really have, And you see, it's like a superhero thing, we all are different type of superheroes,
I agree.
And I see that, you really have unlocked a lot of attributes about yourself that you still have more that you might have hidden. And, I believe that we all shed layers of ourselves. And, you never know what your full potential is, until
You're right.
you leave this world,
You're right. We're never done.
We shouldn't be. I'm telling you, it's like you keep on evolving. And that's what I love about the word evolution, because you're evolving each and every day to be 1% better, Before you know it, next year, you're in a better place than you were last year, And when you start to see things like that, you appreciate life at a different type of capacity now. You look at life with a different type of outlook. You no longer question, but you go out here and you start to create more, And when you see how easy it is to create, you start to fall in love with life at a different type of aspect, So that's one thing I can say, that you have shown me how you really fell in love, not only with your life, but just life in general. You really, when you wake up, you really appreciate waking up, opening your eyes to see what today will give you, Let's get into how, what made you want to become a hypnosis?
Yeah, okay. Well, this is kind of related to what I do with subtle energy.
Okay.
And that's why I decided to get into that, because when I'm doing chakra healing on somebody, I'm working at a basis of below their conscious mind. Oh. So I'm working with the energy, and a lot of times when people are on my healing table, as we're clearing out like old traumas and things that they've experienced, sometimes they'll have a memory of something that happened during childhood, or they'll have an emotion come up and they don't even know what it is. And I always tell them, just acknowledge and let it go, just release it, because we're clearing out those old traumas, because those are what form the energy blocks that can keep your chakras from functioning.
Got you.
And a lot of people, they have a specific trauma in mind that they want help with. Like, for instance, they can't stop smoking, or they can't lose weight, or whatever it is. And again, I decided, well, I'm already working with this level below the conscious mind. Why not go ahead and formalize this and be able to tailor make it to somebody who has a specific problem they want to work on? And so the way hypnosis works is, first of all, we induce a trance state, which is very much like what people fall into when they're doing a chakra healing session. They're in a very relaxed state where they're very open and they're accessing a level of their mind that's not usually available to them. And so with hypnosis, we induce that very relaxed state. And then we choose what kinds of ideas we want to plant, what seeds we want to plant in the mind. And so if it's a seed for, like, for instance, if we're trying to eat better, a seed for, trying to listen to your body and be guided to the fresh, healthy foods that are going to really build your health, rather than grabbing, junk food or a candy bar or something. Like, try to get in touch with that, trying to slow down, taste your food. So whatever is the specific goal that the client has, I'll make up I'll compose a hypnosis script that we can sort of implant in their subconscious mind. And then we always tape the session so that they can do it at home, because repetition is the key. When you're trying to make a new behavioral pattern, you want to repeat to create those new patterns of behavior in the mind. And so I did put one up on my YouTube channel for weight loss, because that's a big thing with a lot of my clients. There's also one for self-healing. So, if you feel like it, you can go to the YouTube channel and look up Jan Webber with 2 B's, and you'll see me, because the other Jan Webber is a real estate agent. So it's pretty obvious who's the meditation teacher and hypnotist. And you can try that one. It's basically a guided hypnosis for weight loss or for self-healing. And you can see kind of an example of what I do. And then people that have a specific problem, they can come and we'll work out a script together for what we like to work on. And then we just implant those new ideas in the subconscious mind.
I like that. That's something I would like to, experience, because are you familiar with the movie Get Out?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had like a scene where he got hypnotized.
Right.
So and I'm like, and one of my old routes, it was this lady, she had a sign that said certified hypnosis,
Right.
So, I was like, oh wow, she probably does the same thing like in the movie.
Okay.
So when I see this on your website, I was like,
sign me up.
Okay, Jay, I know who to come to now. Look.
Exchange of services.
I'm telling you, look.
Well, I am just so glad you started this podcast, Steve, because I feel like you're exemplifying for your listeners how we can unfold new gifts that we have.
And I definitely, I agree with you, because I feel like, we've just been, once again, conditioned for so long to just, accept going to the doctors, taking what they give us, the format that they give us. Oh, okay, you just need to take your vitamin D. You just need to take your vitamin C. They don't recommend you to meditate. They don't recommend you to, hey, listen to some vibrational frequencies. They don't recommend any of that that's really self-serving of your body, your mind,
Right. Although I do need to make something clear. A lot of people that are into holistic healing, they feel like they have to completely shun regular medicine. And I believe that they can work hand in hand. I'm from a medical family.
Okay.
My husband's a doctor. My daughter's a doctor.
Okay.
And so I'm one of those holistic healers that believes that there's a place for modern medicine, especially when you have some problem with your body that is already manifest. Like, you have a shoulder that's broken or an elbow that's crushed. You got to consult a surgeon.
Facts.
But like you said, also don't be passive. Feel that you are responsible for your healing as well.
Facts.
And find a doctor that is supportive of your efforts to support your body's health and is open to it. Because there are doctors out there that, really want their patients to take charge and work alongside whatever treatments they're prescribing.
Are you into like herbalists?
Well, herbal medicine is definitely legit. And, I have interest in that myself. However, herbs are also medicine. So you have to make sure if you're working with a doctor, they need to know if you're taking herbs because they are medicine just like anything else.
Facts.
And so they have to coordinate your care with whatever herbal medicine you're taking.
Because I bought this book. It's like the Herbalist Dictionary.
Yeah.
And it's this guy. His name is Paul. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he's very big name guy in like the whole herbal game, and he was just saying how a lot of plants that we walk by on a daily basis are really like self-serving for the body, like dandelions, like I'm a big fan of burdock root. I like yellow burdock too as well. Elderberry, those are my just top 3 right there.
Yeah.
And some people don't even know what that stuff is, and when you realize that herbs have been around for ages to a point where that's how Western medicine was kind of like created from herbs, you will see how valuable it is to your body, like once again, the body is more than just bone and flesh.
Yes.
It's actually built on vibrations, iron, copper, stuff like that of that nature. And, half the stuff that, as far as the herbs, you see why you don't see them around as much. You have to actually go to a legit source, and this is I go to a herbal store. It's more so in my side of town, but when I say they have everything, and just once again, that's something I wish we can incorporate with hand in hand. When you do go to the doctor, they can recommend you to a herbalist. Okay, if you don't want to take the pharmaceuticals, hey, I'll recommend you to a herbalist, and you can go ahead and drink some tea, some herbal tea, stuff like that, Are you into fasting?
Very much so. Very much so. Yeah. Yeah. So once a year, Baha'is have a period of fasting. It's a spiritual observance where we fast from sunrise to sunset, and that comes in March. And then on my own, I periodically do intermittent fasting or sometimes complete fasting for a day or two, just depending on, what are my needs at the time. And, I find that I just love the mental and the spiritual effects too. I become so calm and peaceful when I'm fasting. It's just when the body is still and there's nothing, my digestive system, I just tell it, okay, you're on vacation. You don't have to do a thing,
It's so crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I don't think I could have done it at your age. I always tell you, you have my respect because I wouldn't have been able to do it when I was younger. But now I'm in my 60s and I find my body just naturally gravitates to it. And I really enjoy it.
Now, I know you've been saying a lot about the Baha'i culture. Give us an insight on what type of culture that is.
Yeah. Well, the Baha'i faith, that's the other, besides energy healing, which I feel like is my secret weapon that I want to share with everybody. I feel like the Baha'i faith is the best kept secret And I did find that when I was pretty young. Whenever I was growing up, I grew up in Indiana. It's like the most conservative, like white bread kind of place there is. But my whole life, I was always wanting to meet like other people from different parts of the world, different cultures. And I just couldn't wait until I was old enough to like leave home and I wanted to go and study. I was always very spiritual. And so I wanted to study all the great religions in the world and kind of create my own religion, from all of them mashed up, because I didn't see why people were always arguing about which one was right. And, in my church, they would sometimes say, oh, yeah, those people from that faith, oh, they're going to hell. And I didn't believe that, I believe that we all have that spark. Well, when I did grow up and I went away to college and, I started studying all those religions, but then I learned about the Baha'i faith. And it has this teaching called progressive revelation. And basically it's that religion is progressing as human culture is progressing. So that, for instance, as a Christian, I was familiar with how Christianity grew out of Judaism. I knew that. But then when I got to Islam, I was like, well, I don't really understand that religion, because when I see it in the world today, it doesn't seem to fit. But then if you look at the beginning, of a religion, before people changed it and added their own ideas and, kind of messed it up, basically, you can see the spiritual teachings where the unity is growing with humanity's culture. Like, for instance, when Christ came, he said Jews and Gentiles need to unite. We're not separate. We need to be together. When Muhammad came, he talked about unity on the level of a nation state. Right. He brought that next level of unity. And now Baha'u'llah, the founder of the Baha'i faith, talks about world unity. He talks about principles that modern people need, like equality of men and women, like elimination of extremes of wealth and poverty, like education for all. And these are principles that he enunciated over 100 years ago. And we're just now starting to realize how important they are.
I like that. That.
And so because of being a Baha'i, I was able to raise my children around people of all cultures. I myself was able to have friends from all races, different backgrounds. So instead of just staying in my same church where all the people look the same, it really brought me out into the greater world. And whenever I travel around the world, I always stop and visit, because I have like a family wherever I go, because that oneness is really there.
And you need that, that's some good insight right there, because I always, when you told me that through text messages about the Baha'i faith, I was like, oh, what's that?
It's like a secret.
It really is, So just to get that insight of what it is, I definitely agree, this world does need equality for men and women, all education should be for everyone, And it's just, once again, but you see how divided this world is these days, It's like, everybody is against each other, but when you realize that we all are one big family, that's the division that we've been fed into with lies that, you have to be against this race, or you have to be against this religion,
And here in the U.S., the Baha'is always work for whatever issue is most imperative. And here there's a lot of efforts about bringing peace between the races, because, that is such an issue for America as a nation. So a lot of the Baha'i communities have concerted efforts about, having dialogue and bringing together people from different backgrounds to speak, and also interfaith efforts. So 1-800-22-UNITE is a number if people want to find like a connection to that community wherever they live. They can call that number, 1-800-22-UNITE, because there's Baha'is all over.
And I'm glad you provided, the number for people, just in case.
In case they want to get involved in unifying society, and also having spiritual education for their children and youth. that's a big thrust for the
It
Baha'is.
definitely is, because my daughter's only 1 year old, but when she gets to that 4 or 5, I want to be able to teach her how to meditate, introduce her to yoga, because
Beautiful.
when she gets to that school phase, you just don't know what type of behaviors she'll be around, so you want to make sure that you can avoid or just be prepared for things of that nature, so I definitely, I love how you have yourself well balanced. I know you said you had a secret superpower that you wanted to tell us about. What was it?
The secret superpower.
Yes, you said you're I want to say a life force energy healer practitioner.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is what I teach my clients. Is basically I teach them that they have this force within them,
right?
And it's a force that can support both their physical health, their mental and emotional health, and also help unfold their spiritual purpose in life. And I just wanted to tell your audience that, if they're going through something where they're struggling and they're in pain right now, that's not without purpose, that they need to stay with it, get through it, and see what kind of learning is available to them from that suffering. And that it's part of their education as a human being on the path to expanding and unfolding their unique gifts. Because, like you were talking about earlier, we are all superheroes. None of us have exactly the same constellation of gifts or abilities, but it's enfolded within us. And sometimes, like those pine cones that only sprout after a fire, they only sprout when they've been burned. People are like that too. And sometimes that's what it takes. That pain, that suffering is what it takes to unlock those secret superpowers within us.
Now, how can people get in contact with you if they wanted to reach out to you to schedule maybe an appointment, talk to you? How can they reach out to you?
Cool. Well, right now I'm with Dr. Sabet, who is my husband. We share an office.
Okay.
And I'm the one that answers the phone. So it's pretty easy to get in touch with me. And the number for our office is 440-543-0707.
Okay. Any special messages you want to leave our audience or our supporters with?
Just want to encourage them that whatever difficulties they're going through, not to give up, because they're never alone. Even if they don't have a good relationship with their family, they have Mother Earth to plug into. Her energy can support them and strengthen them through the first chakra, through the, walks in nature. And also they're in part of the universe, and there are spiritual forces available to them if they only ask for assistance. So
I like that. I like that.
Don't give up. You're not alone.
At all. So as we conclude this episode, I want to say thank you to everyone who took some time to tune in, support. No matter how rough your days are, no matter how dark the clouds are, always be the light of your day. Find the light at the end of that tunnel, because it will always be there. Thank you all. Peace to everyone who's tuned in. Love you all. Thank you.